Okay, welcome to Chain of Sounds again. I'm Nisse Palm, and today I have the great pleasure of having Göran Elmquist with me.
I'm running a company called Sound of Silence, and it's a rig building business. I like to call it a rig building business because I help people with the pedal boards and rack systems and audio solutions and some recording installations. So we're building pedal boards. We try to make everything convenient to travel with also. So I'm a guitar player in the beginning, a producer. Later on now I'm very pleased to work with this, still in the music business, but helping musicians to get the best out of their instruments.
One of the reasons that we are here today is we want to educate the double bass players how to create a good fundament for what we are giving away for the engineers.
Yeah, I think it's important to always know the limitations of the instruments, of course, and the problems, so have something to work on and to improve. Because as soon as it's an acoustic instrument, it's a lot of parameters that you need to check. And so the more that you learn about the gear, of course, you can use it the right way.
Yeah. We decided to start with the Grace Felix 2. Grace is an American company who makes these quite advanced.
Yeah, it is. They make some other stuff for studios also, some mic preamps and monitor controllers. So it's a high-end company, you say. So it's in the upper price tag. This is the big instrument preamp, 2-channel preamp. There's some smaller versions also from Grace Design, but I like to highlight this today. And yeah, shall we go through what you...
Sure, just go ahead.
So it is 2 channels, 2 identical channels for the EQs. And you can also use a microphone input in channel 1, and you can use a pickup, piezo in our case today, in channel 2. And you have obviously you have the EQs, and you have a boost function if you're making a solo or something. There's a lot of acoustic guitar players who use this one also. And you have a mute for tune. You have amp out for your monitor on stage. You have a mix control between the 2 channels if you want to. Or you can switch the mode on this one to have it work as 2 different
2 separate mixes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about one scenario today when we talked here and we did the sound check, that you could use 1 channel for, if you have 1 pickup in your upright, you can have like 1 for the normal playing, another 1 for bow. Because I think sometimes it's a very big difference in the sound when you change.
It certainly is, yes.
What do you think is happening what's the difference when you play in the EQ setting for bow or?
Well, the bow creates new harmonics, overtones that doesn't really occur when you play pizzicato.
Is it more energy also, or?
Not really. I don't think, not in general. Of course, it gets. I mean, the pizzicato is you start the string and it stops in a certain way. But when you play with the bow, it's a continuous flow of sound, and that creates also some acoustic reactions in the mix.
Okay.
And also we have this
The scratchy sound.
yeah, the scratchy sound. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And that we have to a little bit fix that, and in certain, I know you very well aware of that.
I'm more on the cello side actually.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's a bump, a peak for when you play with the bow on a cello. So it sounds louder actually.
It's the same on bass. It sounds loud.
Or other way around actually. In that way they use another setting for the pizzicato, of course, but because it's more bow all the time. But
exactly. And in this case, I on this bass I brought a bass with the Fishman Full Circle, which is a piezo in the bridge.
Yes.
And then I have the Axelson condenser microphone, which is a mini mic.
And you have a power for the microphone there.
Yes.
We don't have to use the 48 volt phantom power here. There's some settings on the side here. You have a headphone out, a phase switch, of course, and some other useful setups. But there's a lot of stuff inside this with dip switches, so you can set the Felix 2 for a better EQ curve for upright. What I like to highlight is what I'm looking for when I see this. If you want this on a pedal board, the good things here is that we have like a ordinary power inlet. We don't need any power supplies. And you have a lot of functions on the backside also for, this is like a DI box, of course, 2 DI boxes per channel if you want to. Yeah. And a loop section also. So now we have it set up for microphone output. So it's this cable goes to a microphone amplifier in the studio, in the control room. We mix both channels today in one output. And then we have one output to our room PA here for you and me to tweak the EQ. So
do you think it's a good idea to be 2 people when you set your sound?
I think it's a good idea to have a pair of headphones actually.
Okay.
Because maybe it sounds crazy, but it's a very good start to sit at home with a pair of headphones. Yeah. So you can, I can tell you more about that, but when you're holding it like this way, we can have a look at the buffer settings. There's 3 buffer settings. And we're going to talk more about buffers and how important the impedance is for an upright. So now we have it on the higher setting, the high setting, the middle setting there. It's a high. Because we want a full sound, of course. And it's very special with the upright in the low end.
We're going to do a special episode on buffers and impedance and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a very, very important thing.
It's a very important.
But for the headphones, if you have a pair of headphones, you can actually listen very careful to the different channels. And then you know what's happening when you do some EQ tweaks.
Yeah.
So when you come up on stage, you have a good starting point. Because I mean, if you have a pair of really good headphones, you will hear that you have a very much low end, of course. Very, very low end. And maybe you will cut some low end. I think we do that today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good starting point. Yeah. If we want to do a rig for you, build a rig for you, we're looking at what's good here is we're looking at 2 EQ per channels, of course, and then I will search for the phase flip if I need that, and I will also, the first thing is to check the buffer setting. So on this particular Felix 2, we had to use channel 1 for the microphone.
Okay.
That's the microphone input. So we have to switch on microphone there. So there's a lot of things we can actually tweak before hearing anything. I mean, we can predict that it's going to be really loud. As you see, the gains are very, very low here.
Yeah.
And we also have a tilt. The mix here is tilt towards the piezo setting.
Yes, okay.
And I think also that's a good start. You want a full piezo sound, depending on how it sounds, of course. And then you want to add the microphone.
Yes.
But the microphone can be a problem on stage with the drummer and, grand piano or something.
Or the room itself.
Exactly. So you can also ask for putting the microphone sound just to the PA system for the front of house.
Yeah.
So you can actually have only the piezo in your monitor. Maybe you're not so satisfied with that, but you know it's going to sound great at the audience. So
exactly.
in that way, you don't have the problem with feedbacks or anything else. What we really need again is the 2-channel EQs, the flip phase and the buffer setting.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing, actually.
Yeah.
Because without that, we can't do so much.
Without that, we can do nothing. But in this case, we didn't need to use the phase shifts, right?
Yeah, it could be hard to hear sometimes. It depends on the room and everything.
Yeah.
Because I hear your bass also. So if you're playing on a low setting on your monitor, you hear both the upright and the monitor, and it can be a phase problem there. But I want to do another video of that.
Yeah. Would it be a problem if you used in-ear only?
No. Yeah.
Could we make the first mix in the in-ear before we go on stage?
Okay. It depends how loud it is.
Yeah.
So what I want to show you later on is how to work with the phase problem or the phase setting.
How to find it.
How to find it and how to use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
So, this is a great product and it sounds great. And we have just done a short, fast setting of something. And do you want to play some? And
we did some, we can almost call it brief and basic, right? Yeah. And let's hear.
So what I can do is I can pan like this. So here's the piezo only. And the microphone. You can hear. The full sound, everything. The microphone is, of course, picking up the whole room. And so I do a little tilt there towards the piezo. Can do a really hard low cut. Depends on the room and the monitors, of course. and we have a little mid dip here at 400, 800 something, to get rid of some of the nasal sound. Yeah.
It's an interesting...
So now I hear both the monitors here and the bass here.
Yeah.
So it's
okay.
hard to know how everything is going to sound outside.
But I'm pretty sure it will sound good.
Yeah, so I think it's this is what you need. I mean, those function is what you ask for to make a good sound.
I should have done that before.
Okay.
This was a basic round trip of Grace Felix 2. Write in the comments and don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now.